Let's go inside Beaver Dam High School athletics and activities right now and bring in the fine Director of Athletics and Activities, Ryan Gerber. Coach Gerber, boy, spring sports season is underway with everybody finally, I guess, officially being able to play. But Mother Nature, as always, she's boss here this spring, isn't she?
Yeah, spring sports are underway, but unfortunately, the Wisconsin spring, we always get that false sense of hope when it gets nice out for a couple days. We think, here we go, but spring is in full effect.
Yeah, it is. And one of the events and teams that has been able to participate, track has their indoor season, which is a relatively short season. And, Coach Mike Price is really getting a lot out of his kids, getting to know his kids, and they've had some success, I guess, early on with a few different track meets this year. We had, I think they had a JV game meet at Watertown. They also had a road one at Ripon College, and then the Golden Gloves last week. Boy, I was there on Friday and then a Saturday morning. Boy, that was a great event, wasn't it, last weekend?
Well, let me first just say again how thankful we are, and I am from our athletic department, for the contributions and commitment our community's made to our facilities. This spring is a great example of, if you don't have the field house or facilities like we have, or even our commitment to our outdoor facilities when we've been able to get out, our kids, our students wouldn't be able to do the things they are. I've just had the opportunity this morning to speak with a lot of athletic directors from around southern Wisconsin, and, their teams haven't been able to do much of anything because they don't have gyms big enough, or they don't have outdoor facilities ready enough. So again, hats off to our community for the commitment they've made over the years to our facilities. A giant thank you to them. And our field house not only allows our teams to practice, but also, as you mentioned, our indoor track season, which not every high school has because they don't have the facilities. So us having that indoor track allows us to get extra work in, give our kids more opportunities, and then host an event like the Golden Gloves, which you mentioned. Our kids did really, really well, finished second in both the boys and the girls events overall out of 12 schools each. And we've got some really nice schools that come in and participate, and there's a long list of schools that are trying to get in. But, Coach Price is taking over this year. It's his first year here in Beaver Dam. He's got some grand plans for where he wants to see the program. Numbers are up on track. There are about 85 kids from about 55, 60 a year ago. So things are trending in the right direction. They're getting really strong results. Of course, they've got Morgan Merritt's coming back, who's up at the state tournament last year. They've got a number of athletes that are looking to get there. Kylan Reynolds has been a big athlete for them over the last couple of years. So it's starting off well for the Golden Beavers on track. Hopefully they can keep that momentum going.
You're right. So they got some work inside because of the weather, but outside, and the outdoor season gets going here in a couple of weeks. So look forward to that. Softball, Quinn Heinz's debut on Tuesday, Ryan. They went over to Fond du Lac, a team that he'd seen quite a bit when he was in the FVA at Hortonville. But the Golden Beavers put 22 on the board against a pretty good Fondy squad on Tuesday.
Yeah, I texted him because he was up in Fond du Lac, and I said, that's a heck of a debut. Not only get your first win on your first game, but then to put 22 runs up. This is a very proud program, and over the years has done some great things. Quinn obviously taking over for Abby Schmidt, who had a heck of a run here, and we're so proud of her, and we're happy that she's staying with us. She took an administrative job. Otherwise, she'd still be coaching here, but very lucky to bring Quinn in. He inherited a nice program with some very, very good players. So I'm very interested to see how he puts his stamp on this program, but to put 22 runs up right away shows that the offense is clicking. The big question is, how do you replace Gabby Fakes and Riley Zarnecki pitching last year? And I think they're starting to find some people. They started Addie Damon last night. She pitched well early on. I know Emma Julka pitched a little bit. She's also their starting shortstop. So, they're trying to keep her at short and find some other pitchers. And then Maddie Bryant pitched last night, and talking to Coach Hines, she had a really nice inning of work there too. So they're going to keep moving lineups around. They're going to keep finding different combinations, but they've got some talent there. The Badger Conference is always very strong in softball, so there's going to be good competition. But, I was able to get a good look at Coach Hines' Hortonville team last year when they were down here for the Triangular, and his teams are gritty. They work very, very hard. They're tenacious. He's going to fit in just perfect here at Beaver Dam. And once he gets further into the season, I think this team's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it is, and weather permitting, we don't know what with the way the weather we're getting now. We're scheduled to have the Beaver Dam game with Hartford on Daily Dodge TV and ESPN Beaver Dam on Friday, but we'll wait and see how the weather turns out. The Dam Sports Show would be also, Ryan, broadcasting live there from 4 until 5 if we can pull this thing off.
Lambeau always gets people to bring shovels and shovel off the snow from the seats during the winter. Maybe we get some people with some squeegees to squeegee off the rain that's sitting on the softball field right now.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. But I will have by the time you're hearing this, the spring sports schedule should be posted on the sports tab at dailydodge.com. Baseball, Nate Wilkie's squad also into week 2 of their preseason preparations, and they have they're getting outside when they can, but a lot of inside work as well, which is the case for pretty much every baseball team across the region.
Yeah, and again, we are very fortunate that they're able to get reps in our field house, and Jake Fakes' facility over at Admiral, they're able to get some work in over there. So, they're not outside, which you would prefer to be outside and get some infield, but they're able to get their work in and get up to speed. They're supposed to be playing Thursday against Madison Memorial at their place. In fact, I believe the first 6 or 7 games of their schedule, the boys baseball team is on the road, which I guess for our groundskeepers is great because it gives us time to get our fields ready with the weather. But, that baseball team has a lot of promise. 2 years ago, they were in the game to go to state and went into extra innings and lost to a very, very talented Hartford team. Last year, they had some struggles offensively, but they got hot late at the end of the year. This is a very experienced team. You look at it at a starting pitching rotation. Eli Bryant's back for his senior campaign. He'll be playing at Kent State next year at baseball. Jeffrey Freund's back. He had a huge summer in Legion Ball. He's going to be playing baseball and football up at River Falls next year. And then you look at a guy like Ashton Seifert, who was a freshman last year, freshman sensation who got on to the starting rotation last year, and he's back. So they've got a lot of talent. They bring Zach Shave back. Again, this is a team with a lot of promise. They do have a pretty strong schedule ahead of them. Listening to Coach Wilkie's interview with you, he outlined the Monona Groves of the world, the DeForest of the world, the Wanakees. The Badger Conference is tough in baseball, but they've certainly got talent. They've got 4 or 5 guys that can hit the low 80s. On the mound, and anytime you have good pitching, that's going to keep you in games. The question will be if they get enough hitting, and we certainly hope so.
Exactly, and you mentioned their home opener is not till April 15th. Again, I can believe it's against DeForest. That is also on the Daily Dodge TV and ESPN Beaver Dam schedule as well. So, hopefully baseball and softball can continue to get out on the field. And soccer is still waiting. Girls soccer, Coach Brandy Paredes' squad this year is going to be interesting. They've got a nice contingent of veterans back that have committed to play college soccer, and also a nice injection of some youth in that program. So exciting things expected for Coach Paredes' squad and her staff this year.
Yeah, if you look back at last year was tough, but they really stripped this team down and really built up from where they need to be. And I think they're going to be in a pretty good spot this year. Coach Paredes has some pretty lofty goals for where she wants the program to get, but we've got to hit those steps in the process. So they have a mix of nice leadership. Emily Beal is returning in goal. They've got Shay Ashley, who's returning as a forward, but they have some young players that are going to start mixing in there. And talking to Coach Paredes, she feels really strongly and really encouraged by this team that she's got. The skill level is high. She brought Riley Kaufman up from JV to be her lead varsity assistant, which Riley played soccer at Oshkosh collegially. So there's a lot to be excited about this program. I think that program's trending in the right direction. We just got to get them out there and playing. We unfortunately had to cancel a scrimmage Tuesday, and we're canceling the home opener on Thursday just with the weather and everything. So we just got to get them out. But again, they're going to run in the same thing we've talked about with softball and baseball. The Badger Conference in girls soccer is very tough too. They're going to potentially open their season, if weather continues to be like it is, on the road at Wanakee, and that's a tough slate. So, we're really looking at this program and how do they bounce back? How do they continue to develop? I think they're going to have a better year this year than they did last and continue to grow and improve. But how do these younger players react to bumps bumps in the road that are natural in the season. That's going to be the big question mark for this team.
It is. When we talk about Brianna Gansky's committed to playing college soccer at Minnesota Morris. Alexandra Leal is going to be playing at Madison College. So it's always exciting to see. You see Beaver. When you go to a collegiate game and you look at the roster, people always look to see who's there, and to see Beaver Dam High School on on a couple of college rosters for next year, and to see them tweet out and social media out, congratulations, welcome recruits with Beaver Dam on. It's just one part of building that program to get kids playing at the next level.
Well, and we are going to be having our collegiate signing day in the auditorium on April 23rd, and it's something we've done every year that I've been here, where we bring everybody from the senior class that's going to go on to the next level, and they have a signing together. It's been a pretty awesome experience, but at the same time, speaking specifically to soccer, there's been a growing number each and every year of kids from Beaver Dam on the boys and girls teams that are choosing to play collegiate soccer. That to me shows that the program is healthy, the soccer community is healthy, it's growing, the level of talent is improving. It's a process just like anything else, but we'd really like to see those collective programs continue to build, continue to get players that want to play at the next level. That's only going to make them more competitive in their high school careers. And, that would be a wonderful complement to the success we've had in softball and baseball over the last few years.
Again, just check your local listings for when the girls soccer team can get out, on the field, especially for a home game. I hope we get some big crowds out there for the girls soccer team this year. Otherwise, follow them to Waunakee next Tuesday, Ryan. Golf, boys golf, and boys tennis, both, I guess, officially get going this week. Obviously not ideal conditions for either one of those sports to be played, but excited to see what goes on with those two programs.
Well, first we'll start with tennis. Tennis, I've always been very impressed with the work that Coach Damon's done, getting a number of athletes out for boys tennis each and every year. They have about 20 boys out. And having gone out to practice and talked to Coach Damon, so far the early returns he's encouraged. Their goal every year is to have an individual or a duo up at the state tournament playing, and they like their chances again. So this is another team that, with tennis it's a little bit different. There are 7 flights, and you got to win the majority of them to win a duel. Sometimes that doesn't always indicate which team has the best players, of course. So they're going to keep fighting. If they can get enough help in their doubles, I think this team's going to be competitive in the Badger. But I really like the work that they've done on the singles side, and we'll be very interested to see how things line up. They've already talked about, we could put these two together and make a fantastic doubles team, but individually, then we have a 1 and 2. They're going to be trying out a lot of mix and match combinations.
All right.
And in golf, I talked to Coach Popovich yesterday. His numbers are pretty high this year, and he's seeing a very strong freshman class come in. So this is a program that they're already looking at the future. This is going to be a big development year. What this team looks like in the next couple of years could be pretty special.
I had one of the golfers tell me when we get the Daily Dodge TV cameras out for covering a golf meet. I'm like, we'd love to try to figure out a way to make that happen,
Yeah, well, we just take a golf cart out and just follow them around. I think it'd be amazing. We'll talk really soft into the mic and everything else.
Exactly. It should be fun. But again, Ryan, it's not always fun being an athletic director in the spring. I know, appreciate all your efforts, because day to day, you never know what events are actually going to be on, right?
We watch the news quite a bit. Sometimes we got to pull out the Ouija board to help with the weather. But, what we're trying to do is we're trying to provide opportunities for kids. We've had a great fall season here. We had a strong winter season with a couple conference championships. So now it's the spring's turn. And as I tell our athletes all the time, we want to start the year off strong in the fall. The fall sets the standard. The winter keeps it going. The spring is super important, because whatever momentum we get in the spring leads us into our summer lifting and summer workouts to go right into the fall. The top programs around the state, when you talk about athletic programs, they're able to keep that circular momentum going. And so each season is super important, but we also want to provide great opportunities for our kids and our student athletes. They work incredibly hard, and we're very thankful for all the things that we've been given by the community. So we want to put on a good show for everyone too.
It is, and just some days you never know if you're going to be playing or not. And we appreciate your efforts in trying to. Everything's a big puzzle, isn't it? Trying to fit fit places and games into certain events when you have to move things around, but eventually it all gets done, right?
It all gets worked out, and that's why we don't like to cancel things in April, because it just gets pushed into May. So hopefully the weather lightens up here and we're able to get out on the field.
Ryan, if people have any questions about what's going on in Beaver Dam High School athletics or activities, what's the best way to find out?
You can give us a call. You can go on to badgerconference.org, or if you're comfortable with apps on your phone, you can always download the Our School app, and you can pull up Beaver Dam on there, and you can get all of our schedules right on your app.
Sounds good, Ryan. We appreciate all you do. We'll see you at a field somewhere here this spring, and I guess thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, thanks, Wade.
This is Inside Beaver Dam High School Athletics and Activities on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam.